A company out of Cambridge is announcing more good news for a coronavirus vaccine. Murderna says its experimental vaccine is showing encouraging results in early testing.
What it tells us is even at the lowest dose that we tested, the 25 microgram dose, we are already seeing an immune response at the level of people.
I just wanted to introduce you guys in case you don't recognize who this happens to be, but apparently this is the chief medical officer for Murderna. Very few things are known about Mr. Tal Zaks on the internet, as he does not use Twitter or Facebook. But what we do find is a 2017 TED Talk where he admits that his colleagues and his constituents, these miracle Maxines that they're working on, basically work as an operating system. These are his words. They're not mine. This is not medical misinformation. I'm simply reposting what he said.
And in the years since, as I've trained as a physician scientist, we've been living this phenomenal digital and scientific revolution.
Now we are in a similar kind of Bretton Woods moment. We have to reconstruct, we have to rebuild from the hit of COVID-19. And at the same time, we have to transform our economies to be greener, to be fairer, actually to be digital everywhere, so everybody has access to this digital transformation.
We've been living this phenomenal digital and scientific revolution.
Actually to be digital everywhere, so everybody has access to this digital transformation.
And I'm here today to tell you that we're actually hacking the software of life, and that it's changing the way we think about prevention and treatment of disease. So here's all the biology you need to know in 30 seconds. Our body is made out of organs. Our organs are made out of cells. And in every cell, there's this thing called messenger RNA, or mRNA for short, that transmits the critical information from the DNA, our genes, to the protein, which is really the stuff we're all made out of. This is the critical information that determines what a cell will actually do. And so we think of it like an operating system. And it's not just in every cell of our body, it's actually in every cell of every organism alive. It's the same thing. And so if you could actually change that, which we call the software of life, if you could introduce a line of code or change a line of code, it turns out that has profound implications for everything from the flu to cancer. And I'm going to demonstrate that with 3 short examples. Let's start with the flu. So many of us get a vaccine. What is a vaccine? It is an injection in our arm where we get bits and pieces of the virus, the proteins, and that teaches our immune system to recognize the virus, and so when we get infected, we're not sick. Now imagine if instead of giving the protein, we would give the instructions on how to make the protein, how the body can make its own vaccine. That's an mRNA vaccine, and here's what it looks like from the cell. So the traditional approach has protein floating around your cells. An mRNA vaccine approach has the cells themselves in your own body making the vaccine. What's more alarming, a stranger prowling the neighborhood or somebody who just broke into your ground floor and tripped the alarm? That's what happens with an mRNA vaccine. You've tripped the alarm wire, and now the cell is dialing 911. It's calling the police at the same time as it's making the protein and saying, that's the bad guy. That's how an mRNA vaccine works, and for the last several years, we've shown this actually works in a whole multitude of animal models. Earlier this year, we published the first actual study in people, and it actually works in people. We took a group of volunteers and injected them with a messenger RNA vaccine against a variant of flu, influenza. And all of these volunteers got the immune response we were hoping to see. The side effect profile was pretty benign, what you would see with any normal type vaccine. So we've proven the principle. This actually can work. It works in people, and now we're going to be developing a whole slew of vaccines against diseases for which we don't have one. It took us decades and billions of dollars to sequence the human genome, and we've done that. We achieved that in 2003. And now we're less than 15 years later, and it takes us a week. And we can do it for every patient. So now we can go and figure out what exactly is screwed up in a patient, and we can use that information to make a vaccine.
This is Revelation 13:13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
So based on innovations, nanomedicine, a new class of invention that Bob Langer across the river at MIT in Cambridge has been inventing, we're now able to package this information in messenger RNA with the goal of giving it as an infusion and then having it go to the liver to replace that missing information.
And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had a wound and did live. And so you'll forgive me if I'm not standing and giving an interruption of a standing ovation for these false miracles of Satan. You know, I'm not impressed. And these people will do everything in their power to try to make you seem like there's something wrong with you, that you're the crazy one.
The Pennsylvania Department of Health slashing their numbers by 201. I've got the Department of Health in Illinois, where one of the directors says that just because we put COVID-19 down on the death certificate as cause of death, that doesn't mean the patient died of COVID-19. She said that.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop, ever, until you are dead.